Thanks for being here. Just before we get on to what you're here to talk about on your brief, I just wanted to get your reflections on Ukraine. We've got President Zelensky in Downing Street meeting with Keir Starmer and also, of course, leaders from France and Germany as well. And I guess what I wanted to get at is, do you think there needs to be some compromise on the part of President Zelensky when it comes to land, for example? We heard from Donald Trump effectively saying that he needs to move.
Well, I think we should support President Zelensky in his battle to save his country. He's been invaded by an aggressive neighbour illegally with overwhelming military force, and he is fighting for his country's survival. And we should be supporting Zelensky to defend his people. I don't think compelling him to give up land is the right thing to do. If somebody invaded our country, we wouldn't appreciate it if someone else said, "Well, give up Kent in order to secure some kind of peace." So I'm concerned about some of these proposals coming out of the US, which apparently would require Zelensky to give up sovereign Ukrainian territory. We in the West should be really doing everything we can to help him, and that is in our interests as well as being the morally right thing to do, because if you appease a dictator, they simply continue trying to expand. Other dictators around the world are going to be watching carefully about how the West acts in Ukraine, and if they think we're weak, if they think we in the West lack the resolve to defend free sovereign nations, they will draw conclusions from that and might themselves then choose to undertake military action elsewhere in the world. So it's not only the morally right thing to do to support Ukraine, it is also in our wider geopolitical interest as well.
Let's talk about grooming gangs, because Kemi Badenoch is going to be outlining today what you want to see from a national grooming gangs inquiry. What's she going to be saying?
Well, the first thing is the government need to get on with it. I mean, we forced them into announcing this inquiry back in June. They didn't want to. They were dragged there kicking and screaming when faced with a vote in Parliament. Here we are, half a year later, and the government has done nothing whatsoever to get this inquiry set up, and their inaction makes them complicit in the cover-up. Now, when I say cover-up, what I mean is, for many, many years, police forces and local councils deliberately covered up the systematic rape of young girls, mainly, and let me finish the point, Sophie, mainly vulnerable young white girls, because the perpetrators were mainly of Pakistani origin. We need to get to the truth behind that and hold those people who covered these horrendous crimes up accountable, not least to deter it from happening again. Not a single person has been prosecuted for covering up these horrendous crimes. We need to get to the truth.
I just want to state how much I agree on what horrendous cover-up it has been and how many failings there have been. But to say that this government is complicit in that cover-up...
By delay.
That is a big statement to make.
Well, by their delay. I mean, they announced an inquiry under pressure half a year ago, and here we are, and nothing has happened. Nothing has happened.
I absolutely understand the frustration and things, but you know, when we're talking about something as serious as this, and we want to show our anger at the cover-up that some people have done, don't you think it kind of like demeans it slightly if you just say, "Oh yeah, the government's complicit in that cover-up"?
Well, I'm afraid by their inaction, that is what is happening. Okay. Now, what we're doing today is we're not just sort of criticising from the sidelines. We're actually publishing a detailed terms of reference that we've developed together with survivors and their families, and it's designed to be constructive. I really hope the government pick it up and run with it, appoint a judge to lead the inquiry and just get on with it, because we must expose the truth. And those people who deliberately covered up the rape of young girls simply because they were more concerned about being called racist than they were about protecting girls, that has to be exposed.
We know that this has been going on for many years. Decades, in fact. Will former Conservative Home Secretaries be required to give evidence as well, and should they be?
Well, look, I mean, the inquiry chair will have, in our view, should have statutory powers to compel witnesses to attend.
But would you like to see Conservative Conservative politicians as well?
Listen,
this is not something that's just happened in the last year, is it?
Listen, that's up to the chair to decide who they call. It's not for me to tell the chair who to call as witnesses and who not. The main point is they'll have statutory powers, legal powers to force witnesses to attend and to force the production of written evidence.
I guess my final question on this is, are you guys like the only people left in the room who still have any faith in public inquiries? Because it feels like, you know, we've seen so many that have cost millions and millions of pounds. They've gone on for years and years and years, and they come up with this kind of woolly set of recommendations and then nothing happens.
Well, listen, there is a concern that public inquiries take ages and ages. There's one, the undercover police inquiry, that's going to go on for 15 years. That is obviously ridiculous. So we think this should be time limited to 2 years, get it done quickly, get to the truth and prosecute those people who covered up these crimes because they cared more about being accused of racism than they did about protecting girls.
A couple of questions on reform for you. Lord Offord, part of your top team in the Lord's energy spokesperson until Saturday when he defected to Reform UK. Is there a bit of a kind of brain drain going on the Conservatives?
No, I don't think so. Look, we've got 120-odd MPs in Parliament. Reform only have, I think it's 5, although they seem to keep quitting. I lose track of how many they've got exactly. So I don't think there's a brain drain. And in fact, the only party coming up with serious and credible ideas to fix our country's problems is the Conservative Party. Reform dream up ideas in a pub, write them on the back of a fag packet, if indeed they're written down at all. They crumble as soon as the media start asking questions. The only party doing the serious, credible work is the Conservative Party.
OK, well, you have to convince the public of that if you look at the polls. Nigel Farage has also been referred to the Met Police over election expenses in Clacton, and they've come up very strongly. They said that it's inaccurate, that it's a disgruntled form of pantler. The party denies breaking electoral law. How seriously do you think we should take this?
Well, look, I mean, cheating in an election is very serious, and it's right that the police investigate it. It's obviously a whistleblower from inside Nigel Farage's campaign. Look, I don't know clearly if these allegations are true or not. What I do know is they're serious allegations and they should be investigated properly.
OK, thank you very much indeed. Chris
Thank you,
Philp,
Sophie.